Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 120. It is Friday today. A little chilly, very gray, kind of rainy here in Cincinnati. Our snow has melted, so everything is now brown again, which is typical for winter. There is apparently a storm, another winter storm moving in this weekend, but no one's quite sure, and the temperatures are right on the edge of, is it going to freeze? Is it going to be warm? Will it be rain? Will it be snow? What's going to happen? And we seem to sit at that in between so much here in this little hills and valley area known as Cincinnati. It's built right by a river. We're in a river valley, and we just get such strange contrasts, and 1 or 2 degrees difference is a completely different story for everyone's days and weekends. And so we're kind of in between a little bit today. And the reason I share all of that, besides giving you the local weather update, is that it's the topic of today's ponderings, musings, contemplations. It has been a story all week that I've been working my way through, and so I'm not sure it's complete yet as I share it with you, but I am guessing I will find more clarity as I share it. Okay, so a week ago I decided that I wanted to offer this workshop called The Crystalline Body, and it's about how we can use crystal energy to clear out the places in our body that are kind of gunky and stuck and where energy isn't moving. And then we can start moving towards optimal health, which to me is crystalline clear. Your body is a clear machine of mind, body, spirit working harmoniously. And so I've been doing this work myself for about a year in my own practice, and I share it in individual sessions, but I haven't done a workshop on it. And so I decided a week ago, I'm like, new year, new start, we're just going to set up a workshop. And I remember looking at the weather for the 14-day forecast and thinking, they're saying 11 inches of snow. Maybe it's not a good day for a workshop. And I'm like, no, it feels right. It's supposed to be right around the full moon, which is on Monday. Like, I'm just going to go for it. Weather's not going to be a thing. I'll just let it move. And then the day I posted that the workshop would be in a week, we got like 2 to 4 inches that day of snow, and everything shut down. And I was like, is this a prediction of how it's going to be for me for next weekend? And so all week I've just sort of been keeping an eye on the weather. And it's been an either or. It's like, okay, either it'll be a live workshop and people will be here at our home and we'll be doing this work, or it's going to have to switch to a virtual workshop, and it'll be, on Zoom, which is the platform I use for my other video events that I host. And so all week, either or. And then I've been flipping back and forth and then checking in, like, what do I think? What will it be? So I share all of this because it's about making decisions and the choices, how there are always other stories behind the more obvious choices in front of us, and yet we get caught up in the obvious things and we don't see the bigger picture or the way that it can apply to other areas of our lives. So I'm sharing it because I am guessing there is a match for you if you're listening to this. Whatever the topic is in your life, allow that to become clear as you're listening to me talk about this topic of a workshop. That's just how it's showing or playing in my journey. Yours will have its own version. So I haven't made a decision, and all week I've been going back and forth and spending way too much time thinking and talking about it and still making no decision. So this morning, that was one of the first things that my poor husband had to listen to. What's the weather forecast for Saturday morning? What are we going to do about this workshop? What should I do? He's so patient with me. And so all morning I've been sort of going back and forth still. The latest forecast is that there's going to be rain in the morning, but it might turn to snow. The temperature's right at 32 degrees. No one can say if there might be ice or sleet or if there isn't. And it wouldn't normally be a problem, except we have a hill, a really steep, windy hill that leads up to our driveway. And this hill has had many accidents on it. And it's usually at that freezing mark, like right at the 32-degree mark is when the accidents happen. So I shouldn't laugh. It's really not funny, but it's funny how I can't make a decision or haven't been able to. So today in my meditation time, well, of course, and then, in the sessions that I've been having, the theme has all been about making decisions and how you have to listen to your own intuition and trust which ways you're guided. Make the decision. Once you make the decision, the energy can start to flow again. I love how it plays out. So this morning in my meditation, I was just sort of moving through the options and pondering, like, why is this showing up for me, and why is it such a thing? I usually have a very easy time making decisions and trusting which way to go. And what I have realized is, expanding the lens, looking at this from a bigger perspective. It's very much about my platform of my work, the visibility of my work, everything we talked about last week in the podcast about, stepping onto bigger stages. I'm very comfortable hosting workshops in my home and in small groups and having that engagement back and forth with people, live, and energy moves very quickly, and I'm very familiar with it. I've done virtual, but in smaller groups and usually with a little bit more preparation. And this is intended to be a workshop that is engaging in the moment, tuning into somebody in the actual moment of being fully present together with no agenda. And in that, magic happens. Something beyond what we can plan with our minds unfolds when there's a dialogue and a flow and you're trusting the flow of the energy. And so setting a workshop that is about the body, about crystal clear energy, and allowing that to be videotaped, which is what it would be if I use my Zoom platform. If it's a virtual workshop, it's a videotaped workshop that then is available for more people to see than if I just did it live here with the people who show up. And so that's the bigger picture. That's what has been underneath all of this for me. It's a visibility, it's an expansion, it's stepping out of the spaces that are very comfortable for me and allowing my work to go wider. It's what we talked about yesterday, expanding horizontally, dissolving the upper limits, the glass ceilings, the glass walls, and being bigger, shining the light in wider ways. So the words that came forward in my meditation time, and I can feel it now in my body, like it's peacefully landed in my body. So it's been good to talk about it here. I can feel the shift. The words that feel true to me are both and. So allowing the workshop to be live for those who are local who want to come and be with me in this moment physically, they make the decision on if they want to drive on roads that may or may not be slippery. Like I give the information and then they are empowered to make their own choice. But the option to be live together is an option, and it's recorded. And it's something that I can share with others. It can be more visible. And then however people want to co-create within that space is up to them. So it can be, someone live saying, I don't want to be filmed, and that's an option. And so the camera's moved so they're not part of it. Or someone who calls in saying, I don't want to be calling in through video, I want to call in through phone so I'm not visible. Like there's room in these co-creations of both and for everyone to find their comfort zone, for everyone to, it's like It's like finding a seat at the table. Some people want to be right up in the center and they want to have the arms on the chair so they can lean back and really take up some energy space. And then other people just want to sort of sit and watch and observe and feel energy moving and not necessarily have to participate. It's everyone's at their own place in their journeys, and also we all want to be included. Well, I'm assuming many of us, most of us, we want to be included. We don't want to be left out. We don't want to feel like we're on the outside. We want a seat at the table, or at least the option of it. And then we decide if we're going to sit in that seat, or if we're going to stand behind it, or if we're going to sit underneath it, or if we're going to hide underneath the table. But we still want a seat at the table. We don't want to be left outside of the conference room door. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's such a continuation of yesterday with the glass ceiling. We all want the options of what we can do. We don't want others to control or dictate or limit our options. And yet we find our places within these new groupings, these new opportunities, these new gatherings, these new conversations. We find our places within them that are feeling best to each of us individually. And it's going to look different. It's going to look different for everyone. And I'm okay with that. And that's what I've been realizing today. Both and is, for me, a statement of there's room for all. There's room for me to do what feels best to me, and there's room for others to make their choices because all the options are on the table. I'm not excluding or leaving out anyone. Yeah, it's been a vibration for a long time, I believe, for many, many people. Either this or that. You got to choose one or the other. And that feels like it is shifting, or already has shifted. And now the vibration is it's both and. You get to choose. The choices are yours. You're not limited anymore. So just like my process, of sitting with all of it and feeling it and understanding the layers underneath it and realizing, oh, this is not about a workshop. It feels like it is, but it's not. It's about me stretching and me growing. And then allowing both and to be the answer. So that process of self-exploration and contemplation, in that we can find our own answers. And then we'll know what we want to participate in and what we don't. The places we want to go to and the places we don't. The people we want to be around and the people we don't. And then we move perhaps in different ways than we used to. And there's room for that. So on this Friday afternoon, I have no idea what the weather's going to be like. And it's okay. It's totally okay, because tomorrow morning I'm going to get up and I'm going to talk about the crystalline body, and it's going to be amazing. And then I'll have lunch, and then I'll hang out with my husband. The day will continue. It's so good. It's so good. Have a beautiful weekend, everyone, wherever you are and whatever the weather happens to be. Make it a beautiful weekend. Thank you for tuning in to today's vibration. Let's take this message of pure love out into all of our communities and continue expanding love here on Gaia. So much love from my heart to yours.